I'm going to turn it over to Jacob. He's going to start our opening ceremonies.
Will you please remove your hats and bow your head for prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this morning. Bless these hardworking individuals as they compete against one another. Help each one of us to show to our best and have good sportsmanship throughout the competition. We thank you for the parents and volunteers who have been with us, each one of us, throughout this journey. And at the end of the day, help us all to have safe travels home and know that all your honor and glory goes to you. In your Son's name we pray, amen.
Please stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Now an expert from the FFA Creed. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists, and the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things have come to us from the struggles of former years.
To make the best better, I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health for better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
There's an old proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I'd say it takes a community to raise a stock show kid. While some may think that stock shows are all about animals and buckles, it's always been about the community that surrounds the experience. The volunteers, the families, mentors, and buyers. Stock show kids learn the value of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. But most importantly, they understand the value of community. It's not just about showing animals, it's about showing up for each other. Whether it be cheering each other on in the ring, offering advice after a tough day, or simply being there to honor each other's successes, this community has shaped us in ways we could have never begun to imagine. The work ethic, the resilience, the teamwork, it's all a part of who we are now. We are a village, we are thankful for our community, and we are blessed to be stock show kids in Gillespie County.
Now where am I holding this?
Let's give our national champion 4-H livestock judging team another big round of applause. Great job, guys. Go ahead. In the ring now will be Class 1 of our Market Goat show. This will be your first call for Class 2. Class 2 Market Goats, come on up to the staging area. Be your second call for Class 2. Let's bring our Class 2 goats up to the staging area.
start things off this morning with our young people out here in the national anthem. Congrats to those kids on the national trip and going to Scotland. That's a huge achievement and one that should not be underestimated. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to get there. And big kudos to those guys on a job very well done. We get into this class and it's interesting. You get your lightweight goats and you're starting to show you don't really know what you're going to run into sometimes. And you hope that there's a couple of them out there that are made right and they look like they can go up into heavier weights and still continue to be good. And I think that's what we've got here when we get into this class. I think these top couple of them could be jumbled around and we're fighting some goats and we've got some inexperienced showmen in here and that's definitely not a bad thing, but you kind of got to work through that and catch your views when you got them. But when you stack all that together, I think this paint one up front just needs to win. Now you study that one just in terms of genuineness, in terms of that one's cage and that one's boldness and the mass and the shape and the touch that goat has. He exceeds that class, no doubt. And then to get him on the move, that one's made plenty good enough. He gets out and he goes. had to be tipped. But a good class, put your hands together for all those visitors on that way to Fredericksburg.
Today we have Mr. Taylor Osborne as our judge. He graduated from Texas A&M University in 2015, where he competed on the livestock judging team at Blinn Junior College and at Texas A&M University. He's currently the county extension agent in Llano County and lives in Llano with his wife Chelsea and their daughters Charlie and Tatum. Can everybody please give Mr. Taylor a big round of applause? Results from your Class 1 goats. In 10th place, Corbin Fiddler. In 9th place, Wyatt Craven. In 8th place, Weston Pressler. Craven. 6th place, Kason Krenwilke. 5th place, Dusty Toch. 6th place, Kason Krenwilke. 4th place, Avery Somerville. 3rd place, Dusty Toch. 2nd place, Western Eckert. And in 1st place, Macy Long. Please give these individuals a round of applause. Please bring your Class 3 goats to the holding ring. If anybody is wanting to floor your goat, it'll be $3 a pound, and you'll take it over there to the wash rack, to the Sanders trailer. Last call, Class 3.
top. I think definitely these top three represent a great deal of quality. And on down the line, I think we've got a really deep class here. I think as soon as they hit the pin, as soon as they hit the ring, the young ladies up front just needs to win. You study that one just in terms of genuineness, in terms of squareness, in terms of boldness and muscle. He sets the standard in this class, and then you prop him up from the side like that, and that's a good-looking one that runs uphill. Is he just the longest fronted? No, but I think everything's proportional on that guy. I think everything fits together like it should. A really nice one that wins that class. 2 and 3 get close for me, and there's give and take here, and I wouldn't argue with you if you swapped them. I think when that young man gets that weather settled, though, I think that one's just more genuine all the way throughout in terms of the shape to his forerib, the mass that he feeds out of the backside of his shoulder. You step in behind him, he's a stouter penguin that's got more stifle. I want to stouten that thing up in terms of his foot and his bone, and I want to see him be just a nickel kneader right there behind his shoulder at times. He'll get a little easy there, a little softer there. I want to strengthen him there, and we just make him that much better. Young ladies there in 3, I like the foot and bone in that one. I like the way that that one's hip and hind leg is laid in him. I don't read him to be as genuine, as stout in terms of his muscle and his shape out of the backside of his shoulder. I read him to be a little plainer there in terms of the point of his shoulder and his chest and how all that ties together. If we can pick him up there and just man him up in terms of his muscle just a shot, you can certainly swap that pair. Young man's here that comes next. A really nice goat when you get down and you study him. You read him in terms of genuine width and boldness and natural muscle. That's where that goat belongs. Got to look past the clipping on that one just a little bit, but the studying on that one is really good when you get right into him. Nice goat that lands there in 4. Just a nickel planer in his overall look and touch today when you compare him to those others. Young man's in 5. Good looking, sporty one. If you're just going to study him from out here on the side, yeah, you can tie into that one, but you get on a 3/4 and you step in behind him, there's got to be more to that guy. He's got to be bolder in his forerib. He's got to be stouter out of his hip and from behind. We've got some other good goats down the line. Talk to those kids as we send them over there. Good class. Put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
Segner's Jewelers in Bee Cave and Fredericksburg have all you desire for Valentine's Day. Beautiful diamonds, colorful gemstones, and metals to match your taste and complete your unique look. Your perfect engagement ring awaits you at Segner's. Let them custom design a special piece or repair your favorite one. Located in the HEB Center on 71 in Bee Cave and 236 West Main in Fredericksburg. Or at SegnersJewelers.com. Welcome to Segner's. Define your love. Define yourself.
At Hill Country Propane Inc., we work hard to earn your propane business. Do you need propane delivery for your home?
We're on it.
Refilling propane cylinders for your grill?
We're on it.
Filling up your RV and our easy drive-through?
We're on it.
Savings on RV and cylinder fills?
We're on it.
For all your propane needs, choose Hill Country Propane Inc. because
we're on it.
Hill Country Propane Inc. Go propane.
Our champion Division I Market Goat Award was donated by Fredericksburg Veterinarian Center, and our Reserve Champion Division I Award was donated by Skid Pro of Fredericksburg. If you have a division champion or reserve, you will need to fill out your thank you card before you go to the backdrop.
Let's give all our exhibitors in these first 2 classes in our lightweight division a big round of applause. Like I said in that first class, you don't really know what you're going to walk into. You come into it to any type of show, don't matter how big or small it is. That first class and first couple of them can get a little hairy at times, but really impressed with the quality out here. It started off really good in that first class. That young lady's paint one finally settles down a little out here, and you study that thing just in terms of his genuine width and his shape and his touch and his tone. That goat's very impressive. Like we talked about, we could change him a little bit, stouten him up in terms of his foot and his bone. And he maybe looks just a nickel hard out here today when you compare him to a couple of those other ones. But, man, that thing has the right kind of width, the right kind of shape, the right kind of body turn and shape to his cage that you like to see. And then he's still good looking up front, handles it well on the move. Nice one there that wins that first class. The one that was in 2 behind him, like we talked about, built exceptionally in terms of that one's feet and legs. That one's look up front is exceptional. I just got to see that one be a little just a shot stouter right out of the backside of his shoulder, and that one just gets that much better. But a good pair of them that come out of that first class. And then we get to that second class we just got done talking. Young ladies comes back out here and that wins that class. And, man, that thing's just neat in terms of his foot and his bone, his stoutness, his ruggedness, just the density that goat carries and the way that he carries it, I think is very good. Like we talked about, maybe not just the most wicked up there through his front end, but definitely acceptable and one that balances exceptionally well for one that's carrying that much stoutness and power to hold it together like that. Awfully good one there. Young man's there in 2. When that young man gets him collected, I like a lot of things about that goat, just in terms of his shape, in terms of his touch, and the width that he spreads down his back. Like we talked about in class, maybe stouting him up in terms of his foot, just a shot. You read him right there in terms of his chest, maybe not quite as opened up, not quite as powerful as 1 or 2 of them in here, and maybe could be just a shot more shapely when you step in there behind him. But a good set of them, multiple ways to go. For me, there's one that wins it fairly handedly, and then there's a decision between 2 of them. But give them all a big round of applause. I'll go show you the 2 that I like for your lightweight division.
Your Division 1 champion is Kinsey Key. Your Reserve Division champion is Macy Long.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the show and all of the exhibitors and parents for having me out today.
Check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, let's try again. But as I was saying, I really appreciate you having me out today. It's always fun to come out and spend some time with exhibitors and families that spend a lot of time and a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work getting these projects up to speed and out to the show. So first of all, give all the exhibitors a big round of applause for all their efforts. Thank you.
9th place, Levi Harrison.
So in this class of turkey hens,
7th place, Amzie McCrae. 6th place, Aiden Hawkins. 5th place, Nikki Toch. 4th place, David Frederick. 3rd place, Nikki Toch. 2nd place, Wyatt Peters. And in 1st place, Kinsey Key. First call for Class 4 market goats.
If you would like to floor a goat before the end of the show, if you would please come around and come up to the table and let us know, and we'll get you loaded on the trailer over there. Otherwise, we will load the rest of them at the end of the show, but we will do it during the show if you need to.
Last call for Class 4 market goats.
Well, as we get them spun around here, we start the first class of our next division, and I think the top end of this one's very, very competitive. Really like this one that we lead things off with. Just study that one in terms of his foot and his bone, and study him from the ground up. That one's width and cage and spread and dimension of muscle is very, very good. One that maybe we want to change him in terms of his bounce, just a shot. He's a little coarser there at the point of his shoulder, maybe just a nickel shorter and a nickel steeper out of his hip as well. But man, that's getting awfully critical of a really nice one there that puts him some absolutely wild things together. Nice one there that wins that class. Young man's there in 2. I like that goat a bunch. Just real solid, just really good in terms of that one's natural width and shape and spread. He's been fed exceptionally well. His touch and his tone is very, very good. That one is neater up front, a little smoother in his shoulder and a nickel longer out of his hip, but he just gets swallowed in terms of width and body and bone when you compare him to that one right in front of him. 2 good ones up top. Congratulations, those 2 gentlemen. As we get into this third one here, really good looking, really pretty, good profiling type, really good in terms of that one's look and his underline and the way all that ties together. That goat just doesn't have enough punch to him when you study him in front of those 2 in front of him. It's just got to be stouter and wider and more dimensional. But he's better looking and he's more attractive than the one that lands in 3. Young man's here in 3. A goat that's good in terms of his structure, good in terms of his balance. That one gets too deep in terms of his forerib and his body, a little too flat in terms of his forerib and just plainer in his overall look and shape, and that's why he ends up there in 4. Young lady's here in 5. Wide, stout, dimensional, all those things. Love those things about him. He's just too round in his shoulder, round out of his hip. He just doesn't want to balance up and show himself off today. Good class. Put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
Class 5, please start making your way to the ring. Results from Class 3. In 8th place, Grace Lackey. 7th place, Clayton Ortega. 6th place, Weston Pressler. 5th place, Piper Craven. 4th place, Kelby Grayhouse. 3rd place, Kaysen Clausen. 2nd place, Levi Hickman. And in 1st place, Knox Pageant. Second call for Class 5 market goats. Last call for Class 5. Please bring him up.
Well, as we get them pull up here in a line up front, a good class that comes in and one that can be challenging to put together, I think, because there's not one maybe that just jumps out there and says, here I am, but there's lots of good and lots of these things and some things about each of them we'd like to change, and we'll talk about them as we go through them. Young ladies, black one here, I think that one just puts the most good together. I think whenever you get out here, these top 5 of them, they end up here because they're the ones that have genuine width and muscle and actual and genuineness to their build and body and muscle, and then this is the one that still has some look to him. That goat looks good in front of the side. He's attractive up through his front end. I want to see him stouter when you step in right behind him in terms of his hip and his stifle, but that one combines the right kind of rib shape, the right kind of spread over his back, and he's still got a good set of running gear underneath him. Young man's here in 2. This one catches me when he comes in because, man, that thing is good looking. He's shapely. He's good touching. That one's just not stout enough. That one's just not bold enough in terms of his rib. He doesn't carry enough width down his topper from behind, and that's what lands him there in 2. Young ladies here in 3, when we're standing behind him on a rear view, that one looks really good. He's bold, he's shapely, he's square, he's got some natural width to him. That one's structure just gets too out of whack for me. He's more up and down the angle to his shoulder. His neck doesn't want to come right out of the top side of his shoulder. Short and steep out of his hip, and he gets straight in his hock. If that one moves better, he can certainly move up. He's just not built quite good enough to run up any higher in this class. Young ladies, one that comes next, just study that one in terms of just the basics. That's a good-legged one that's good-bodied, that's got enough muscle and enough width. He just gets a little plainer out here, just in his overall look and his shape. Just doesn't have quite the touch and the leanness and firmness that those ahead of him have. Young ladies, that comes next, stout, wide, powerful, probably the heaviest muscled one in class, no doubt. That one's just got to be built better. He's a little too short, a little too jammed up everywhere. He gets a little rounder in terms of his muscle and his skeleton as well. We've got some good ones down the line as well. Give all those exhibitors a round of applause. Nice class that comes in there next.
We will now be judging for our champion in reserve for Division 2. The Champion Division 2 award was donated by Harper Pump Service, LLC, and the Reserve Champion Division 2 award was donated by Lochte Feed and General Store.
Let's get them back out here for our champion in Division II in reserve. Really, really good set of them, and I thought we started off things right in this division in that first class with a pair of them that surfaced. They're both wide, they're both bold, they're both dimensional, and they tie it together good. That one that wins that class just takes it to another level. That one is pretty out there in terms of the spread that he has, the shape, the just mass and dimension that he carries, and the way that he can still handle it. Not saying that he's perfect in every place or spot, but that thing is awfully neat in the way that he puts a lot of things that are really hard to do together in terms of making them that bold and that wide and still being tucked up and neat in terms of their body and shoulder. The one that's there in 2, just a good type of goat, one that just fault-free, can't do a lot wrong with that one. That one's square. He's bold. He's stout. He's got some foot and bone underneath him. He just didn't carry it quite to the degree of the one that wins that class, but 2 really good ones there that come out of that first class. Those 2 we just got done talking, a class that was a little more challenging, but we bring them back out, and they represent good kinds of stock. They're genuine. They're bold. They're made right in terms of their feet and their legs. Maybe don't have quite the bells and whistles that a couple of the other ones do, but just good type of animals and those young people have done a great job feeding them and getting them shown out here today. I think it's pretty straightforward for me. There's 2 of them that came in together. They were close together in class, and they fit together good out here. Those 2 out of that first class are going to be your champion in reserve.
Okay, so it's Knox and Levi.
Okay. Your champion Division II is Knox Pageant, and your reserve is Levi Hickman. Results from Class 4. In 9th place, Mason Taylor. In 8th place, Kason Krinwilge. In 7th place, Lincoln Krinwilge. In 6th place, Wesley Ottoman. In 5th place, Evie McCrae. In 4th place, Jayla Harper. In 3rd place, Alexis Wine. In 2nd place, Levi Hickman. And in 1st place, Bella Dollar. First call for Class 6. Second call for Class 6.
Well, as we get them sorted, lined up here to talk them, excellent class that comes in, and I thought it was a two-horse race from the beginning. As we get those two out here and we get them whittled down to the final line of them, I think it's even closer. I think it just depends on where you want to set your priorities, where you're going to draw a line on one or two of them, and that's where you kind of end up going. If you like them good built and you like them sound in terms of their structure and their lines and being smooth and still having plenty of width and shape and muscle, you land on the one that we land on. Young ladies there, I just like that thing just in terms of his completeness. I like that one. He's plenty wide, he's bold, he's shapely, but then he just handles it better than the 1 and 2. He's laid in better in the angle to his shoulder. He uses his hip and his hind leg better on the move. I think he just proportions better and puts himself to a nickel better from the side, and that's why he wins. Young man's in 2, I love that one's Cage. I love his width of chest and his power and his shape that he carries from end to end. I just got to see him come in a prettier package. He wants to get straighter up there in his shoulder and his knee. He wants to get shorter and steeper out of his hip, and he's just a little bit more jammed up all the way throughout. If we can lengthen him and smooth him up in a place or two, that's the right kind of width and rib shape and touch that we're looking for. Just got to see him go a little better, be a little prettier from the side. 3 and 4 get close for me because I think these goats are very similar in their type and kind, actually. I think the young ladies has the advantage in just shape right out of the backside of that one's shoulder. I think that one sets down a little neater in terms of the way that he sets his rear pastern, but a good goat there. It lands in 3. Young man's in 4. Good looking one, really attractive up front. Like that one's lines and the way that he draws back in them and the attractiveness that he does have. I like that thing's loin and his hip. I wish he's a little bigger right there in terms of his rack, and he wants to get a little longer in terms of his pasterns. We can strengthen him up, shorten him up there. Can certainly find that one a little higher. Young man's that comes next. I like this one when he walked in because he's exceptionally fresh looking and he's presented very, very well. That goat's a little fatter than all the ones in front of him, and he gets a little plainer right there behind his shoulders, and he wants to taper to his hip as well. If we can just square him up in a place or two, that's a nice goat that's got a lot of good going for him. Good ones down the line as well. Give all these kids a big round of applause. Excellent class that comes to us out of that next one. Good job, buddy.
What class?
We found a bracelet in the show ring, so if any of y'all are missing a bracelet, come to the announcer's stand. Class 5 results. In 11th place, Simon Pressler. 10th place, Caleb Brooks. 9th place, Corbin Fiddler. 8th place, Gage Spurney. 7th place, Josiah Cantu. 6th place, Macy Long. 5th place, Case Byer. 4th place, Ryder Dominguez. 3rd place, Bella Dollar. 2nd place, Eli Geiswhite. And in 1st place, Tinley Barnett. Please bring your Class 7 goats to the waiting ring. Second claw for Class 7.
Well, as we get these put together, this is where it gets fun because I think all these top three represent a great deal of quality. Three really, really nice weathers at the top end of this class. To take nothing away from those further down the line because I think this class is exceptional. I think it was going to boil down to these three when they hit the gate as soon as they came in, and sure enough, it did. I think they're all very, very good. I think there's just little things that separate them. I think when you study that class winner, one is just impressive when you step in front of him. You look at that chest shot of him. He's the most cracked open in terms of his chest. He's the widest there through his sternum. He's the boldest and the roundest in terms of his cage, and he spreads a lot of mass and shape down his top side. And then you tie it together with one that's that neat up front and that cool looking up there through his front end. Man, a hard one just to pass up. And then one, you study him in terms of their foot and their bone. He's one of the stoutest ones in terms of his foot in this class as well. Just a really nice one there that wins that class. If we're going to change him, he gets a nickel easy right there, right behind his shoulder, just a touch, and he's a little green there in terms of his loin. I know that's not our end point here today, but we could change that about him, just to make him that much. The one here in two, man, I like this thing. Just the squareness of his build and his body, I think is exceptional. Love that one's rib, the squareness to his top, the fullness of his loin, the stoutness out of his hip, I think is all very, very good. You study that one right when they come at you, and when you get up there in front of him, he's not as genuinely as wide in terms of his chest. He's not as big and stout in terms of his foot, and he's a little plainer there, right there up through his front end when you compare him to that class winner. But a really good one there that pushes that class winner exceptionally hard. Two really high quality goats there at the top end of that class. Young ladies here in three. Young lady, you just ran into a buzzsaw of a class because this one wins a couple of the earlier classes out here today because he's just genuine. That one's square, that one's bold and muscular, and he's still got an acceptable look. I'd say he's just not quite as out there in his look and some of his pieces as some of those in front of him. He's a nickel shorter there in terms of his neck, a little deeper there in terms of his sternum, and one that gets a little easier in terms of his pasterns, just a nickel. If we change those little things about him, he could certainly move up, and he might be some people's favorite, and I like him. I just don't think he had quite the pieces and parts that those two up front did. Young ladies here in four, just a good basic kind of goat, and I mean that in the best of ways. That one's got width, that one's got rib and muscle, just a nickel plane out here in terms of his look. Right there behind his shoulders, we need to shape him up, stand him up in terms of his rack, but a nice one there that lands in four. Young man's in five, profiles exceptionally well, good looking one, just needs more punch, more power all the way throughout to compete with these in this class. Good class. Put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
Last call for Class 7. We're now judging for the champion in reserve Division III market goat. And those awards were sponsored by Fritz & Sons Construction and Sean Christie and Cannon Downs.
Well, as we complete another outstanding division, we bring those first and those seconds back out, and very, very pleased with them as they get back out. Very comfortable with the four that we have out here in the order that they're in. I think they're all really, really high quality. I think when you get down and you study them, the one that comes out of that first class, like we talked about, one that was just good in terms of his width and his rib and his muscle and the dimension that he has, but then he tied it together with a better look and a better skeleton than the one that landed in two. At times, that goat will get a little lazy on the young lady, and I get an off look of him every now and then where he just hits me as a nickel planer at times, but I love that goat's fundamentals and the way that he's made and the way that he's designed. Watch him on the walk. That's where that one really shows himself off. He's so good structured, so good built. Like I said, at times he'll get a little lazy, give you a little plainer look at times, but a good one there that wins that class. The one that was two behind him, like we talked about, opened up, cracked open, stout, all those things. You love those things about him. Just wish it came with a different set of running gear. That one's just got to be better looking, a little longer, more extended out of his hip. And the two we just got done talking about, this black-headed one comes back out, and man, that thing's just awfully neat in terms of his cage, in terms of his shape and his touch, and then to combine it with a look like that, I think it's pretty far-reaching. Really neat one there. Like we said, he's a little easy there right behind his shoulders, a little greener in terms of his loin, but I think there's a lot of good in that black-headed one that wins that class. Young man's in two. Bring him back out, and like we said, he pushed that black-headed one hard in class, and he's exceptional out here as well. Love that one's rib shape, the turn to his body, the squareness down his top. He is fuller in his loin, and he's big and stout out of his hip. Like we said, want to man that thing up in terms of his foot, just a shot, and make him a little neater there up through his front end. I thought he got a nickel planer there in terms of his neck and his thickness of it, but I think the fundamentals are there. The basics are good in terms of the way that one's built. The way that he's constructed is very, very good. I think there's two of them that kind of fit together. They just go together. They came into class together. They pushed each other together. Two really high quality ones. Those two out of your last class are going to be your champion in reserve. Congratulations. Good job. Good job, buddy. Nice job. Nice job, young lady. Good job, sir.
Your champion is Riker Pageant, and your reserve is Case Beyer. Your Class 6 results. In 9th place, Coy Kernmogi. In 8th place, Brody Fiddler. In 7th place, Mason Pressler. In 6th place, Gage Spurney. In 5th place, Brody Fiddler. In 4th place, Hollis Constantine. In 3rd place, Lily Hickman. In 2nd place, Case Beyer. And in 1st place, Riker Pageant. First call for Class 8.
Well, a really fun top end to get to sort here, and I think these top four, I spent a little time on them because I think they warrant it, because I think there's a lot of quality out here. Little things that separate them. Depends on where you want to set your priorities. You might line them up just a nickel different, but I'm really comfortable in the way that they fell together. Young lady's paint one, just a neat one, just in terms of the way that that thing can combine his natural width and shape and power and foot and bone into a neat, attractive package like that is awfully impressive to this guy. Is he just the biggest right out of the backside of his shoulder? No. Is he plenty acceptable? You bet. There's nothing that is not stout about that thing at all. Just studying from any angle, just a really good one there in terms of that standpoint. Love that one's running gear. His feet and his legs are very good. One that just blends it all together in the most unique package, and that's why he wins. 2 and 3, you can flop these if you want to, depending on where you want to set your priorities. Young ladies here in 2, I read that one to be just as genuine, just as bold, just as stout as the rest of them, but he's better looking than the 1 and 3. He's better built, he's sounder, he's blade in better in the angle to his shoulder, and he's longer and neater up to his front end. I prefer the way that one's hip and hind leg is made. He's got a better set to his hock, and he uses it better. Really nice one there that lands in 2. Young ladies in 3, if you're just going to judge them on the hoof and standing there and get on either end of them and say, man, that thing is busted apart and he's stout and he's wide, you're exactly right. He is cracked open, burly, all those things. Love the way that thing touches and feels. He's just a bit too much because his skeleton can't handle it. He's a little rounder and straighter there in terms of his shoulder. He's shorter and steeper out of his hip. And he's wanting to plant his hock just a nickel straighter and want to roll it at times even when you step in behind him. But he lands in 3rd because, man, that thing is cracked open. He's stout and he's powerful, and I appreciate those things about him. Young ladies here in 4 is built like the class winner in terms of look, in terms of foot and bone and hair, and you appreciate all those things about him. That goat's just carrying too much condition right there over his ribs. He gets a little easier right there behind his shoulder on the move, and watch him on the move. He's straighter in his shoulder and forward in his knee. You got to see him go better, got to see him touch a little better and get a little neater there right behind his shoulders. Young ladies, that lands in 5, good kind of goat that's just square, that's dimensional, that's got the right kind of width and muscle, just a nickel planer, and that one's overall look and shape. Good class. Put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
Segner's Jewelers in Bee Cave and Fredericksburg have all you desire for Valentine's Day. Beautiful diamonds, colorful gemstones, and metals to match your taste and complete your unique look. Your perfect engagement ring awaits you at Segner's. Let them custom design a special piece or repair your favorite one. Located in the H-E-B Center on 71 in Bee Cave and 236 West Main in Fredericksburg. Or at SegnersJewelers.com. Welcome to Segner's. Define your love. Define yourself.
At Hill Country Propane Inc., we work hard to earn your propane business. Do you need propane delivery for your home?
We're on it.
Refilling propane cylinders for your grill?
We're on it.
Filling up your RV and our easy drive-through?
We're on it.
Savings on RV and cylinder fills?
We're on it.
For all your propane needs, choose Hill Country Propane Inc. because
we're on it.
Hill Country Propane Inc. Go propane.
Class 7 results. In 12th place, Emily Sarah. In 11th place, Evangela Craven. In 10th place, Mason Pressler. In 9th place, Holland Waller. In 8th place, Taylor Cox. In 7th place, Wyatt Craven. In 6th place, Jace Rab. In 5th place, Highland Constantine. In 4th place, Kelsey Staling. 3rd place, Kinsey Key. 2nd place, Sydney Geiswhite. And in 1st place, Taylon Toch. First call for Class 9. Second call for Class 9. Please bring your goats to the holding ring.
Well, I knew once we got into that last class and we're starting to get into these heavier weights, these championship weights, it's going to get deep and it's going to get good, and it sure did in a hurry, because I think all these up here and these top 5 and even on down the line are exceptional. And I think it depends on where you want to set your priorities and how you want to, what you want to emphasize and what you want to draw a line here or there is how you line these up. I think the one that has no discussion to me is the one that wins. So you just study that one, just how rugged and how stout and square and open up that thing is, and the way that he can still handle it as he goes. He still props up really good, just a good touching, good type of goat that's got a lot of way out there pieces. If I'm going to change him, I want to pick him up in his pins, just a shot. He wants to get a little roll there to his hip ever so slightly, but when you're carrying that much stoutness, it's going to come just a little bit. Really nice one there that wins that class. 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to jumble these up. I wouldn't argue with you too much. I'm just going to tell you how I see them and how they hit me. Young ladies, that comes next. I love that one's squareness, his genuineness, his boldness, the raw shape and muscle that goat has, I think is exceptional. He props up good from the side. He touches good. He want to get a little steeper out of his hip as well, and maybe one that doesn't have quite the fuzz and quite some of the other extras that some of these others do. I know that's kind of ridiculous. We talk about that these days, but it does make a difference. Of the probably the top 5, he's probably one of the rawer ones. He could be a little fluffier. He could be a little fuller there in terms of his loin. Just a shot. And I know, like we said earlier, not at our end point, but we got to judge them as they are here today, and I want to see that one filled in just a nickel more there as well. Young man that lands in 3, man, I like a lot of things about this one in terms of his squareness, in terms of his foot size and his bone and just his boldness. All that is really good. That goat's a squatter, and at times he'll want to suck down on that young man, and he's doing his best to get it out of him, but he is falling out of his chest. He's a little deeper there, wanting to push out in terms of that plate, just a shot. If we can pick him up there and extend him there just a little bit, makes him that much better. Young man's that comes next. On the stand, love that thing. Really round bodied, really shapely, really hard touching, dimensional type of goat. One that just gets a nickel frailer in terms of his foot, in terms of his bone, but one that props up good, one that's shaped good. Didn't think he was quite as massive in terms of his foot and bone. Want to get a little straighter there in terms of his shoulder as well, just a nickel. Young man's that comes next. Like that one's look, like his foot, his bone, his squareness, the build of that goat I think is very good. Problem is he just fits inside all these other ones out here today, especially when you study him in terms of his forerib and just the shape and the boldness to it there. Good ones on down the line. Great class. Put your hands together for all these exhibitors on an excellent job.
We'll now be doing the Division 4 Drive, and those awards are provided by Ralph and Karen Rohde and Fritz and Sons Construction. We also still have the bracelet up here, and it was found in the show ring last night. So if you lost your bracelet last night in the show ring, come and claim it.
Well, as we bring them back out for contention for our champion and reserve, our first and seconds, really impressed with this division. I thought the quality was outstanding in both of those classes and made for some of the tougher decisions of the day. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it challenging. That's what you look forward to when you come judge a show, especially a county show, and you run into this caliber. It gets exciting, gets your heart beating. It's a lot of fun. And we started off really good in that first class. And like we talked about in class, that painted up one just kind of separated himself because of the stout, wide, heavy muscled ones. He was the one that put himself together the best. He was built right in terms of his neck, in terms of his shoulder, in terms of his lines. He's very good. His feet and his angles work right. He moves around very good in the ring. You get your hands on that one. He is impressive how big loin that thing is for a little skinny old goat like he is. He is way out there and full to his edges. Like we talked about, could maybe just be a nickel better right there behind his shoulders if you're going to pick on him. But that's an awfully good one there that wins that class. The one that's standing behind him in 2 comes back out, and I like him just as well. That's just a good goat, guys. That one's square. That one's round-bodied and muscular, runs uphill, good-looking. Like we said, maybe just didn't have quite the width and shape to his loin that one did in class, and maybe not quite the bells and whistles in terms of that one's look and just his stoutness of foot and bone, but a really nice one there that lands in 2. Then we get to the pair that we just got done talking, and young man brings that one with the spot on his hip back out here, and man, that thing's just awfully neat. You just study him from the ground up, and that's where I like to start him. He is a grizzly-legged one that is wide, that is bold and stout. He's a little longer-haired, but you get your hands on that thing, and he touches as good as any of them. That one is just really shapely, really smooth, and then the way that he handles it, I think, is exceptional. Like we talked about, he wants to just fall off just a nickel there in terms of his hip. We can jack him up just a shot there in terms of his pins, but that's getting awfully critical of a really good one there that wins that class as well. Young ladies in 2, competitive class, and like we talked about, I like what that goat represents in terms of his width, in terms of his cage, in terms of his genuineness of muscle and his shape and his firmness that he has to his touch. Like we said, a little greener there in terms of his loin, and it's not our end point today, but it could be a little fuller out there if you're gonna critique that one. And maybe you get him out here and compare him to some of these others, maybe not as out there in terms of his foot and bone as 1 or 2 other ones, but a really good one there that comes to us out of that class. I think it's awfully close. I think you can go a number of different ways and definitely justify them. There's a pair of them that come to me in mind, and when you're thinking about what you're wanting to do down the road that hit me exceptionally well, that I think are going to have a lot of success down the road. These 2 up here on your front end are going to be your champion reserve, heavyweight champion, lighter class will be your reserve. Congratulations. Good job. Let me get your card here.
Your Division 4 champion is Briggs Bowers, and your reserve is Talon Toch.
Segner's Jewelers in Bee Cave and Fredericksburg have all you desire for Valentine's Day. Beautiful diamonds, colorful gemstones, and metals to match your taste and complete your unique look. Your perfect engagement ring awaits you at Segner's. Let them custom design a special piece or repair your favorite one. Located in the HEB Center on 71 in Bee Cave and 236 West Main in Fredericksburg. Or at SegnersJewelers.com. Welcome to Segner's. Define your love. Define yourself.
Results from Class 8. In 8th place, Alex Harper. 7th place, Braden Mostley. 6th place, Kimber Cantwell. 5th place, Eli Geiswhite. 4th place, Riker Pageant. 3rd place, Knox Pageant. 2nd place, Sydney Geiswhite. And in 1st, Briggs Bowers. First call for Class 10.
Well, as we get these spun around and lined up, I really like this class and the way that it falls together. I think these top three are real nice in terms of their quality, things that they bring to the table. I think the black-headed one up front just suits me the best, and he does so pretty handedly. If you've listened today, you know I like them wide, you know I like them bold and stout, but we got to make them good built, and that's where the one that wins does so. That's just the best skeleton one, the one that props up the best, the one that's the soundest up there through his front end and out of his hip and hind leg. Is he as rolled up in his shape and maybe as stout down the middle of his back as that 1 and 2? No, I don't think so, but he's definitely acceptable there. He's wide, he's genuine, he's bold, he's fresh. That one suits me real well. Young ladies there in 2, man, that thing is cracked open in his chest. He's bold and round in his rib. He's big down his top and out of his hip. All those things are excellent. You look at him up front, catch a chest shot of him. He's getting too bulldog fronted. He's outside himself in terms of his shoulder. He's too straight in the angle to his shoulder and his knee, and he can't get out and go right out through his front end. Then he wants to pinch just a little bit there in terms of his loin as well. But you appreciate that one in terms of his width, his body, and his muscle just too much. And he's pushing on his skeleton too hard. That's why he lands in 2. Young man's there in 3. Just a good functional type of goat that's bold, that's got some muscle, that's got some width and bone. Just a little plainer in terms of his look. But he is better built and sounder than the one that lands in 2. Young ladies in 3. Props up good from the side. Just not enough goat there when you get on either end of him. Just not wide enough, just not bold enough and stout enough. And the young man just rounds out our top 5. Good, complete type of goat. One that's got some width, got some muscle. Having a little trouble getting him stuck out here today, and he's a nickel planer all the way throughout. We've got some good ones backing him up down the line. Good class. Put your hands together for all those exhibitors.
If you're wanting to floor your goat, you can come up to this table and find Miss Lisa Sanders, and she'll take you back to the trailer to floor it. Or at the end of the show, there will be a person back there for you to go floor your goat with. Results from Class 9. In 10th place, Holland Waller. 9th place, Alex Harper. 8th place, Josiah Cantu. 7th place, Colton Canese. 6th place, Clayton Canese. 5th place, Coleman Cantwell. 4th place, Lily Hickman. 3rd place, Camden Cantwell. 2nd place, Taylon Toch. And 1st place, Addison Hahn.
Attention all you exhibitors. We're fortunate enough to have Devin Sisk Photography with us today, her and her team. So be sure and go by her table and pick up a card, and you can go online and check out all the hot shot photos, backdrop photos. They're all available for purchase, and they do a great job, so please check that out.
There will be a 15-minute break after the Grand Champion Goat Drive and in between the Sheep Show. Division champion and reserves, please start bringing your goats up to the holding area. All champion and reserve divisions, start making your way to the holding area.
Well, another good group of them that come in, and it's one that just separates himself. Whenever he hits the pin and you get your hands on him, the really good-looking, good-touching one's the one that wins up front. Young lady does a great job getting that one presented. Just really cracked open and stout in terms of that one's chest and forerib. Carries it down over his back, over his rack. He wants to pinch just a nickel there in terms of his loin, just a little greener there, I'd say. But a really neat-looking one that touches really good, really genuine and square and stout. Nice one that wins that class. Young ladies there in 2. Another one that's really stout-legged, one that's good-looking when propped up, one that's got some spread and shape down his back as well. He'll get a little pinch there in his loin as well. Everything to be just as stout right out of his hip as that one that wins that class, and one that's a little more general in terms of his look up front, the way his shoulder, neck, chest, all that ties together. We can shape him up, clean him up there, and extend him a little. I can certainly swap that one. Young ladies here in 3, he props up, really neat, really shapely type of goat, one that's got good in terms of his muscle. He's one that's rocking that edge in terms of his shoulder. He's a little straighter up there in his shoulder and his knee, wanting to push out up front. We need to make him sounder off his front end to get him any higher. Young ladies, that comes next, that goat reads with some genuine width down low. It's up high where he runs into trouble. He's playing her out of the backside of his rack, just not quite as stout in his foot and his bone work as well. Young man's that rounds out our top 5. Good looking. That goat props up really good from the side, really attractive. Just not enough to him in terms of his forerib, in terms of when you step in behind him out of his hip. Got some good ones backing him up behind him. Great way to wrap up our heavyweights here. Give all these exhibitors a big round of applause on an excellent heavyweight division.
Class 10 results. In 10th place, Wyatt Surma. In 9th place, Jonathan Chase. In 8th place, Simon Pressler. In 7th place, Zuri Lauderdale. In 6th place, Clayton Kanazy. In 5th place, Jace Rabb. In 4th place, Ruby Corolla. In 3rd place, Ruby Corolla. In 2nd place, Kendall Staling. And in 1st place, Addison Hahn. We'll now be judging for the Division 5 champion in reserve. Those awards are provided by Roy and Lisa Sanders and Cody and Danita Barnett. There will be a 15-minute break in between the sheep and goat show.
Well, as we work through our heavyweight division here and bring out our first and seconds for our champion in reserve contention, really, really good division. You get goats into that weight range. It's a challenge to keep them fresh and keep them youthful and feeling good, and that's why these 4 are out here. They did that in terms of body, in terms of shape, in terms of muscle and tone. I think they're all exceptional. It's their skeleton that separates them in the way they utilize it. That's why the black-headed one wins that first class. He's just square built, good in terms of of his feet and his legs, his bone work. That one's genuine in terms of his width and his body. Is he the biggest down his back? No, and they don't have to be as long as they're genuine and they're true. The big thing is they have to combine that with an appropriate skeleton, and that's where that one beats the one that's in 2 behind him. Young ladies in 2, wide, bold, stout. You love all those things about him. He's just too far out there in terms of his shoulder and his knee set, a little too straight up front. Just need to make him sounder, better on the move, and that one just gets that much better. The 2 we just got done talking, young ladies out of that heavyweight class, comes back out, and for a heavyweight goat, one that touches exceptionally well, to be that stage of life, and he's really fresh, really firm, really rolled up in his top, and then he stamps it with a really good look. That one's lines are laid in him exceptionally well. Like we said, he's a little greener there in terms of his hip loin, just a shot, and we know that's not their end point here today, but definitely somewhere we could make him a nickel better, but a nice one there that wins that class. And the young ladies there in 2, like we talked about, another rugged, stout, wide-made, bold-ribbed one that's got plenty of muscle, maybe just a nickel plainer in his overall look. But you love that one's shape down his top. The stoutness that he has through his hip and his stifle is very, very good as well. I think there's a number of different ways you can go. There's 2 of them that just suit me real well that I think pair together pretty good. They came in together. They'll stay together. Those 2 out of your heavyweight class can be champion in reserve. Congratulations.
Your Division 5 champion is Addison Hahn, and your reserve is Kendall Staling.
At Hill Country Propane Inc., we work hard to earn your propane business. Do you need propane delivery for your home?
We're on it.
Refilling propane cylinders for your grill?
We're on it.
Filling up your RV in our easy drive-through?
We're on it.
Savings on RV and cylinder fills?
We're on it.
For all your propane needs, choose Hill Country Propane Inc. because
we're on it.
Hill Country Propane Inc. Go propane.
Segner's Jewelers in Bee Cave and Fredericksburg have all you desire for Valentine's Day. Beautiful diamonds, colorful gemstones, and metals to match your taste and complete your unique look. Your perfect engagement ring awaits you at Segner's. Let them custom design a special piece or repair your favorite one. Located in the HEB Center on 71 in Bee Cave and 236 West Main in Fredericksburg. Or at SegnersJewelers.com. Welcome to Segner's. Define your love. Define yourself.
Your Division 1 champion is Kinsey Key. Division 2 champion is Knox Pageant. Division 3 champion is Riker Pageant. Division 4 champion, Briggs Bowers. And your Division 5 champion is Addison Hahn. Your reserve champion, Division 1, is Macy Long. Your reserve Division 2 is Levi Hickman. Reserve Division 3 is Case Byer. Reserve Division 4 is Taylon Toch. And Reserve Division 5 is Kendall Staling. Please give all of these individuals a big round of applause. We're now judging for the Grand Champion Market Goat. The Grand Champion Market Goat Award was donated by Billy and Betty Rader, and your Reserve Grand Champion Market Goat Award was donated by Dr. Curtis and Miss Curtis Eckhart. Immediately after the grand drive, we will need all champions and reserves to go to the backdrop and showmanship winners to take a picture.
Well, as we get out here for our grand drive, we bring our champions and our reserve champions of each division back out. Please give all these kids the show to goat here in the Goat Show today. Big round of applause. Outstanding set all the way throughout. I apologize taking just a little bit longer to look at them here up front, just because I think the quality is exceptional, and I think it deserves to be they deserve to be studied and looked at to make sure that I'm 100% comfortable with what we're about to do, and I think we're getting there. I'm going to take another look at them after we talk for just a minute, but I think that just speaks to the quality that we've seen out here today. And I'm not going to go back and talk each and every one of them. You know what I think about them. We talked them in class, and we talked them in their division drives as well. Just know that I think an awful lot of them. I think several of these can go down the road and be highly competitive at a big one, and that's what it's all about when you talk about these county shows. Is it's fun and it's competitive, and you want to get after everybody, but whenever you get down the road, it's all about everyone from here pulling together to try to get as good as you can, and because it's tough. And let me tell you guys, these things are good. You can drive long and hard and far to try to find a set of goats that are this deep up here on the top end, and I mean that wholeheartedly, that I think they're exceptional. And I think there's a number of different ways a guy could go and would definitely be justified in doing so. Like we've talked about all day, just how I like them. I don't think it's any secret that I like them pretty wide. I like them stout. I like them rolled up in their cage, and I like them big and burly down their back and from behind. But with that, they got to be inside themselves. Their skeleton has to be correct. All that muscle is great and all, but it's got to come with the right kind of build, the right kind of look. We like to push these things to their edges, and sometimes we push them a little too far, and we got to rein those things back in and keep them still functional, keep them right in terms of their feet and legs. Big thanks to you guys for having me. When I got the call, no doubt I was going to do it. Whenever you get calls like that, you don't turn them down, and I appreciate you having faith in me to come sort them. Appreciate you guys bringing them to me. Thank y'all for all the ring help, all the people that put this thing on. It's not an easy thing to put a stock show together, and you guys do an outstanding job. Please give your board a big round of applause, all your volunteers, everyone that helped put this thing on. Definitely not an easy task at all. I'm about to put it down, and we'll go get you a champion reserve, but I just thank you again. It's been a pleasure. Kids have been great. The goats are outstanding. Give them one more big round of applause, and I'll go get you a champion in reserve.
Right now? Your grand champion market goat from the St. Mary's 4-H is Briggs Bowers. Your reserve grand champion from the Harper 4-H is Taylon Toch. Let's give Mr. Taylor Osborne one more big round of applause. The grand in reserve will both need a parent in the drug testing pen.
At Hill Country Propane Inc., we work hard to earn your propane business. Do you need propane delivery for your home?
We're on it.
Refilling propane cylinders for your grill?
We're on it.
Filling up your RV in our easy drive-thru?
We're on it.
Savings on RV and cylinder fills?
We're on it.
For all your propane needs, choose Hill Country Propane Inc. because
we're on it.
Hill Country Propane Inc. Go propane.
Segner's Jewelers in Bee Cave and Fredericksburg have all you desire for Valentine's Day. Beautiful diamonds, colorful gemstones, and metals to match your taste and complete your unique look. Your perfect engagement ring awaits you at Segner's. Let them custom design a special piece or repair your favorite one. Located in the HEB Center on 71 in Bee Cave and 236 West Main in Fredericksburg. Or at SegnersJewelers.com. Welcome to Segner's. Define your love. Define yourself.